Hello Achiever, today it's an awesome day. I am with Darren Hardy, the CEO of Success Magazine and also the bestseller and the best-selling book, of Compound Effect. And he's with me to answer my questions about success. You will enjoy these amazing interviews and you have to purchase Success Magazine. It's awesome. So hello Darren.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. I wish I had a French accent though. It sounds so much more eloquent in a French accent. Yeah.
Yeah, I can learn you to have the French accent.
Yeah,
We
that'd
can
be
do an
great.
interview to have the French accent.
Yeah, that's great.
I have a lot of questions for you, but I would love to know, first of all, your story, and especially your struggles and how you overcame it. Because a lot of people think that successful people has only luck, no struggles, it's easy for them, and I love to share, and they see that's not so easy. Yeah.
Actually, my experience is exactly the opposite. Usually the most successful are the ones that seem to have struggled the most. So whenever I'm asked, which I get asked a lot, what is the key to success? Or when I ask somebody, why aren't you more successful than you are right now? Because you're capable of a lot more. The excuse that I hear very often is relates to my background. So I was born to a couple who were very young, and they divorced when I was 18 months old. And my mother, she just never really wanted to be a mother, so she just handed me off to my father. As a matter of fact, when she first found out that she was pregnant with me, her response to the doctor was anger. She was mad that she was pregnant.
Wow.
And so I went with my father, and he was only 23 years old when I was born. So he had just moved from the San Francisco Bay Area, which is in Northern California, to the middle of the country, which is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he took a job as an overworked, underpaid American football coach. And it was just he and I out there by ourselves. We really kind of grew up together. And my father wasn't exactly the nurturing type. He was a really sort of strong, muscle-bound, aggressive alpha male, and he was infamous for one of his coaching philosophies, because he was a yeller. He was a screamer. He was a guy that there was no whining, no crying, no excuses, lots of yelling, lots of cursing. But one of his coaching philosophies that he was infamous for was, no matter how hurt a player got, they were not allowed to come out of the game. So one time this linebacker gets creamed in the middle of the field and wobbles to the sideline, begs my dad to take him out of the game, and my dad grabs him by the face mask with his teeth bared, and he says, "Not unless you're showing bone." And he pulled back his shoulder pad, and out from his neck skin was sticking his collarbone. So that was a famous line. Whenever any of us kids got sick and asked to stay home from school, he'd yell, "Not unless you're showing bone." And so that was just sort of kind of that upbringing. And then when I was 4 years old, he married my stepmonster, or my stepmother. And they went on to have 2 other children. And because in her eyes I was of the other woman, she did everything she can to try to ostracize me from the family, really, to try to, push me aside. And so I was
Accepted.
Yeah, I was a redheaded stepchild, in her eyes. So I say all that because that dysfunctional childhood is the reason why I say I'm the very functioning, highly successful achiever that I am today. Because I had to get over the issues of abandonment is the reason why I'm vigorously self-reliant. Because I had this strong alpha male as a father is the reason why I'm so driven and ambitious. Because you had to achieve in our household in order to get any love or any attention is the reason why I am also so achievement oriented and goal driven. And a lot of people look at their childhood as wounds that they need to heal from, that are debilitating them, that are keeping them back. And I see it exactly the opposite. I see that your adversity is your advantage.
Mm.
And that it has become my great advantage because adversity is like building a muscle.
Yeah.
You put it under incredible stress and strain repeatedly, stress and strain, and then it grows back bigger than it was before. So if you've had difficulties in your past, you've developed muscles so that today you can do extraordinary things that ordinary people can't do because they haven't had the muscle development. It builds up this emotional resilience. It gives you this will, this determination, this drive. Because you've had these experiences, you've gone through this development process. So my mentor, Mr. Jim Rohn,
Wow.
would often say, you know, people walk around with their past like a billy club, and they just keep beating themselves over the head with it. And instead, you should look at your past like a school, like a training ground that because you've gone through this development, you've garnered this education, now you can do things that ordinary people can't do. And so that's really my story, a story of coming through dysfunction, and that is what has equipped me, trained me, developed me to be the achiever that I am today, and to be able to communicate to people what it is to be on both sides of the fence. And so it has been the excuse buster, the myth buster is that your past is something to heal from, and the reality is that your past is something to have used as your great advantage as you move forward. So that's a
So
little
you
bit
are
about
saying
where I come
that
from.
when we have struggles and when we overcome it, we are building our strengths.
You're building your muscle. You're bigger having gone through that process than you would have been without it.
So maybe we can enjoy every struggles we have.
It's part of the process. So and it's not just part of the process, like it is essential. So when I first got into real estate and I was only 20 years old, I took a real estate trainer, speaker, expert to lunch and asked them, you know, what do I need to do to be successful? I'll do anything. You know, like you're very persistent, right? I said, I'll do anything. I'm determined. I'll do it. Just tell me what I need to do. And he said, you need to go fail. And I said,
Why?
what do you mean I need to go? I thought the whole idea of success was avoiding failure. He says, no, it's exactly the opposite. You need to go fail, and you need to go fail a lot, and you need to go fail fast. And then he said, he gave me this quote from Thomas Watson, who used to be the president of IBM, and he said, the key to success is massive failure. The key to success is massive failure. And he said, what you need to get success is you need to go get massive failure. And he could see that I wasn't really getting the point, and so he drew out this analogy for me that has been pivotal for propelling me to be successful from that point forward. He said, life's like a pendulum, and on one side of the pendulum is defeat, rejection, failure, sadness. And on the other side of the pendulum is victory, success, accomplishment,
Achievement. Yeah.
achievement. Yeah. And if you just stand still, you won't experience any defeat and failure, but you won't experience any success or achievement. So what most people do is they just find this little comfort zone. They're only willing to experience
No
so
success, no failures.
so much, only so much defeat or so much rejection, and so they only get so much success and so much victory. He said, now you can't push the pendulum on the side of success, but you can push it on the side of failure. And so your job is to go push the pendulum on the side of failure as much and as fast and as massive as possible. And then what you will find is it will swing in equilibrium
Wow.
on the side of success, on the side of joy, on the side of achievement, on the side of wealth. So push and push and push on the side of failure and rejection. And I took it very seriously. And so I went out like a savage to just go get as much rejection, as much failure, suffer as much defeat, put myself in a position where I was vulnerable for sadness as much as possible. And
It worked.
it worked. It worked on a massive scale. I mean, so I was in real estate at 20. I had no business being in the real estate business. I had no idea about the business and the rest of it. I just knew this one process. Go get rejected. Go find failure. Go put yourself in a position for defeat. And the pendulum swung on the other side in equilibrium, and it was a fantastic success. I mean, it was beyond what any of my competitors or people in the same marketplace that were competing for the same, business. They couldn't compete with a 20-year-old because I was just relentless about collecting failure faster and bigger than anybody else in the market.
It's you are inspiring me. I love that. I would love to know, because you did a lot of interviews also of inspiring people like Warren Buffett and a lot of people. So what is maybe the 3 best things you learn from every of these interviews?
Well, the first thing is that they're really normal people. They're really just normal people. Seriously, I'm best suited for this job because I am not impressed by anybody. I appreciate what they have done, but I'm not awestruck. There's a big difference between appreciation and awestruck. So they really are just very normal people that have decided that they are going to be determined and achieve something, and they're going to be relentless in its pursuit. And many of them started out broke. They started out with dyslexia. They started out being an immigrant. They started out as an orphan. They started out abused. It doesn't matter how they started out. It doesn't matter what family they came from. It doesn't matter, what school they went to or didn't go, or what side of the tracks they were raised on. I mean, they're all very normal people. The one interesting thing that I have found that I've sort of put my finger on is they hate to lose more than they love to win. They are competitive and they hate to lose. They win, and that's fine, but they hate to lose. And they're willing to do whatever it takes not to lose, to win. And again, the win is great and it's fine, but they don't really pay it much mind. It's like, okay, we won, what's next? But they don't want to lose. That's one thing. But how they've gotten there, the distinguishing factors of how they've gotten there are they are relentless about continually learning. They are growth-minded, like Steve Jobs. He did what he called iterate, where he was always looking how it can always get a little bit better. How can we get a little bit better? And so this constant, never-ending pursuit of improvement, of growth, of learning. Constant and never-ending improvement. Yeah. Can I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is a common trait, the most common trait amongst all the uber achievers that I've ever met is that they are extremely learning oriented and growth oriented. The other that I would say is that they have a clear idea of where they're going and what goal or ambition that they've got, but they are more growth-minded than they are goal-oriented. And so, for instance, when I was interviewing John Maxwell, I had said, so John, you've accomplished all this, what's your next big goal? And he said, I set goals, but I don't really live my life out towards goals. He says, the only thing I've ever done is just focused on growth, just getting better today than I was yesterday, and figuring out how I could be better tomorrow than I am today. And he said, see, when I was a young guy, I could never have imagined being John Maxwell, written 50 books and get paid, $60,000 for an hour speech. I could never have set a goal for that. It would have been impossible for me to have imagined that. So instead, I just focused on growing every day, and that the accumulated effect of that growth mindset shot me way past any goal I could have possibly have imagined. Richard Branson said the same thing. He said, if 40 years ago we had set out to make a goal to have 400 companies and be this incredibly successful brand, We could never have imagined it. And if we had set that goal, we certainly would have failed. But because we just worked on getting better every day, we far surpassed any goal. I'm a perfect example. I could never have set a goal for who I am today. It would have been unimaginable. It just wouldn't have been in my realm of perception. One interesting thing to know is that I've not been trained or educated to do anything I've ever done. I've never been qualified to do anything I've ever done. If my high school English teacher knew that I was a best-selling author, that I was the editor and publisher of a nationally distributed magazine, they would quit their profession. It would have been inconceivable to them. Like I said, I had no business being in the real estate business. I did a turnaround for a software company. I started an internet company. I've started a television network, right? I mean, none of these positions that I've ever had or businesses that I've started, I wasn't trained for it. I didn't go to school to learn about it. I just did it. And I did it by every day
improving yourself.
Just trying to improve every day.
Yeah, and currently, do you have some goals or dreams, or just you focus on improving? For example, Success Magazine. Do you have a goal for the next year or for the 10 next years?
I mean, one of the important skills that I learned when I was 18 years old was how to set, stick to, and achieve big goals. And it's earned me millions of dollars. I learned it from a mentor when I was 18 that I met, and he taught me this system, and I've used it ever since. A couple of years ago, I actually published it. It's called a book called Living Your Best Year Ever. And it's got in an achievement management system. So I'm a big believer in setting goals. So yes, I have goals. I have a direction I'm pointing myself towards. But there's a key part of a mindset, of a philosophy that day to day, all you need to really have a goal and then glance at it. So but every day look at what's the next step.
The goal is to take the direction, to have a direction, and in this direction you focus on what I can improve today, what I can do differently than the other days to go outside my comfort zone.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens is a lot of people set goals, and they have this big goal, and they look at it like this giant staircase, and they're like, that just seems impossible. There's no way. It looks too hard. It looks too much work, and they don't ever start. They set a goal. Yeah, I want to be at the top of that staircase. It's easy to write that down. But when they go to actually start climbing, they just go, that's just
I'm
too...
not sure.
But if all you did was just look at the first step and get on that first step. And then when you're on that step, just look at the next step. That's it. Don't look up. Just look at that next step. And then get up on that. And then if you keep doing that for a while, you'll end up looking up and going, wow,
I'm there.
I far surpassed what I thought the top of the staircase was by just focusing on one step at a time, which is really the thesis to the compound effect. It's
it is my next
small
question.
choices.
What is a compound effect?
Yeah, it's small choices that in the moment you make them don't seem like any big deal at all. Accumulated over time create big results, right? It's almost, it's like the...
Do you have an example with your story?
Well, my whole life is basically the outcome of that. But the mathematical reality to it is if you took a penny that you doubled every day for 31 days, or $1 million or €1 million, would you rather have the penny or the €1 million? Because the penny, even though when it doubles, it goes from 1 to 2 to 4 pennies to 8 pennies to 16 pennies, doesn't look like very much for a long time. So you could be making all these positive choices. You could be doing all the right things. You could be learning. You could be growing, you could be trying, you could be persistent, and it doesn't look like it's working at all. But then all of a sudden, it goes like this. You get this exponential return, but it's only possible through those small, little rhythmic choices that over time end up compounding into a tremendous result, which is the reason why people see somebody on the cover of Success Magazine are like, this is like an overnight success story. This person just came from out of the blue. All of a sudden, there's this great success. No, no, no. You didn't see all these millions of little
Baby
positive choices that they made all along the way, that then all of a sudden, the exponent, which is the reason why Einstein said the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. Well, I say the eighth wonder of success is compound choices. And if you make enough positive choices, small at the moment seem small, seem insignificant, compounded over time, end up creating gargantuan results. So that's the same of the process of accumulating your success in life. And too many people in our Western culture are looking for the overnight success. They're looking for, how can I get great success in 90 days or less? How can I get fit and lose weight and get sexy and make a bunch of money? And it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It works over time, and you have to have patience.
According to you, why there is people who are able to do the everyday something to improve yourself, and why the others don't? And maybe another question: how we can help the people who don't arrive to do everything every day?
The problem is that our culture is filled with sensational news media and commercial marketing gimmickry. You know what that is? Where commercial marketing is trying to sell you crap that makes you believe that you can get fit, get younger, get sexier, get rich all overnight with very little effort for only 3 easy payments of $39.95. And they're just trying to sell you on a quick fix idea that in the end doesn't work. So people are constantly bombarded with this, so they start to believe it. Oh, well, here's a shortcut. Here's a quick fix, or here's a 90-day extreme makeover, transformation. It doesn't work like that. And so the way that, number one is they buy into it, they believe it, and then they go, they're constantly cycling up and down, up and down, up and down. The way to help them with it is to say, look, the only secret to success is hard work, discipline, and consistency over time. And if you just believe, if you just know that every choice you make, every step you take is igniting the compound effect, positive or negative. Make a poor choice, it ignites the compound effect. Exactly. And that exponent will work just like that. And so somebody goes, how did this happen? How did I get so fat? How did I get divorced? How did I get bankrupt? Because I don't remember making a colossal bad choice. You didn't make a colossal bad choice. You just made small, poor choices accumulated over time.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it went like that.
Yeah, it's great.
So the way to help is to say, stop looking for the quick fix. Positive, consistent discipline accumulated over time will bring you all the riches and wealth you possibly can imagine. Just stick to it, have patience.
Great. I would love to know why and how did you start Success Magazine?
Well, Success Magazine is a 110-plus-year-old publication. It was started by Orson Swett Marden back in 1891, and we bought it in July of 2007. Former editor of Success Magazine was Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
So I sit in his chair today as the editor of Success. And it was once owned by W. Clement Stone, and Og Mandino used to be the editor as well. So we bought it in July of 2007. We put it back on newsstand in March of 2008. It was the largest first issue magazine released in the history of publishing. We sold more copies then Oprah's first magazine, Martha Stewart's first magazine. We sold 1 million copies of the first issue. And today we reach about 3 million people through North America and different parts of the world and so forth. So,
In France also.
you know, I don't think it's actually physically distributed in France.
Yeah,
But-
I have some.
Oh, you do? Is it at the newsstand?
I have some Success magazine in France.
Is it mailed to you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's mailed to you. Yeah, okay. But in terms of physically at the bookstores or
No,
at the
no,
airports, yeah.
There is no in bookstore.
Yeah.
Okay. And why? Why did you make this choice?
So I've been in the personal development, personal growth business for 20 years now. So I was running a television network that distributed the same kind of content as we put in Success Magazine, but delivered over cable, satellite, and what's called IPTV, Internet Protocol TV. And then the opportunity, my partner got the chance to buy Success Magazine, wanted to do it with me, and so that happened in July of 2007. The reason is that there's not a single brand on the planet that in a word describes what everybody wants better than success.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants, for life, nobody wants a Microsoft or a Nike or an Apple or a Starbucks, but everybody wants success. So it's the most, in my opinion, in a word, the most valued brand word that there is. So what can be built off of that is substantial. So we have a magazine, we have success.com, which is our web platform, Success Books, which is our book publishing division, Success Speakers, which is our talent management business, Success Symposiums, which is our event business. We certainly can do and are looking at Success TV, Success Radio. So it can end up becoming a large media company, you know, as we continue to peel back the onion. Yeah.
I have short question and short answer. What is your favorite book? It's a hard question.
Well, it's Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand.
Okay. What is your favorite audiobook?
You know, we have a product called Success Book Summaries where we summarize books on audio. So I don't think I've actually listened to a full-length audio of a book for a long time.
Okay. What is your favorite movie who inspire you?
Gladiator.
It's great.
I know it's corny, but
yeah, I love that.
the music is spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, the production. Oh yes, the art form of it, and then the
He's a warrior.
Yes.
What is your favorite quote?
The one that I put that I dedicated to Jim. He said, "Talk about things that matter to people who care."
Great. And what is your favorite commitment to yourself?
Consistency.
Okay. Do something every day.
Just be consistent.
Okay.
Whatever it is that you're committed to doing, be consistent.
Okay. Maybe it will be the same answers, but I would like to ask you that. Who I have to become to belong to one of the top influential people in this world?
Well, you need to become influential, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, whenever somebody says, "What do you need? Who do you need to become to achieve something?" Well, it depends on what you want to achieve. If you don't want to achieve much, you don't have to become much, right?
Yeah.
If you want to achieve celebrity status as an entertainer, that's different than if you want to achieve success as a writer. The who you need to become are different. So the first question is what do you want to achieve? And then take 2 or 3 people. Tony Robbins talks about, you know, model success. Success leaves clues. Find somebody who's got the success that you want, and then figure out what traits do they have. What are their character attributes? And then, you know, figure out what are the half dozen that define that person, that have created, you think are responsible for creating their level of success. And then those are the half dozen attributes that you should go working on developing yourself. that's who you need to become. There's no mystery.
Yeah.
There's no, it's evident, right? Just what do you want to accomplish? Who's already got it? What are their key core attributes? Develop those in yourself and you'll find the same outcome in the end. Yeah.
Um, you were talking about modelization with people. Do you have some questions you ask to learn more from someone?
If you had to do it over again, what would be 2 or 3 things that you would do differently?
Yeah.
I mean, that's usually a question I like. Or how do you define success? Since I am the publisher of Success Magazine and we're talking about success, I typically ask that question. How do you define success for you?
How do you define success?
I had to obviously answer this in a variety of different ways. Number one is I had to define it for the magazine. What's our brand statement? How do we as a brand success define success? So our answer was that it was being successful in 5 areas: business, finance, relationships, health, and then contribution, making a difference, doing something that makes a positive contribution. So that was the definition of success. But I really had an epiphany when I interviewed Maria Shriver, who at the time was the First Lady of California, and her father is Sergeant Shriver, who started the Peace Corps and Jobs Corps and Head Start, and her mother started the Special Olympics. She's one of the Kennedys. She's, from, if there was such a thing as American royalty, she comes from American royalty, and they all have been world-changing, prominent leaders. And so I asked her, how does she define success, thinking that it was to make a difference in the world and give back to humanity and, do this, be part of this great cause and have this great mission. And she said, she first had that, that she thought that that's what she needed to do to be successful. And she said she realized that wasn't her definition of success. That was her parents' definition. And that her definition was that she wanted to be there for her mother in her final years. She wanted to be a great daughter. She wanted to be a great mother. She wanted to be the kind of friend to her girlfriends that she wants in a friend. She wanted to, be a great person to her close circle. And that it changed her life because she stopped living the definition of her parents. She started living the definition of her own. And I remember when I drove home from that interview, I said, what is my definition of success? I don't think I've ever defined it for myself. Because at the time I was like, frustrated. I should be doing more. I should be accomplishing more. I need to be going and running a several $100 million company and, feeling angst. And then I wrote down my definition, and the definition, after I looked back at it, was like, wow, I'm really living most of that right now.
Yeah.
Like 90% of everything I described is my life right now. So it did a couple of things. One is it allowed me to settle in, to appreciate all that I had without thinking I needed to be doing more. And secondly, it made me take the 10% part that I didn't really like and eliminate it. And then take the parts that I liked and go deeper on them. And so I realized that I really like things that are high quality, that are simple. I don't like a lot, I remember I learned this when I spent time with Richard Branson. He just, the guy likes complexity. He likes having a lot of balls in the air. He's ADHD, and he's a dynamic guy. 400 companies, and he's got 125 lawsuits pending at any one time. It just, that would drive me crazy. I realized at that moment, it's like, wow, I'm not like you. I don't like and thrive on complexity. I actually like and thrive on simplicity. That doing a few things really well with great quality and great care brings me more fulfillment and joy. And
Maybe more like Steve Jobs.
Yeah, more like that. Exactly. That's a great difference between the two of them. Is Branson likes to do a lot of things, and Jobs likes to do a few things
Very well.
very, very well. Yeah, and I definitely relate more personally in terms of my own internal mechanics to Jobs' style than Branson's. Although I admire and respect
Yeah.
and revere Branson and think that it's incredible that he can thrive on that kind of dynamic complexity. But I'm best doing a few things really, really well.
So what you have to learn is that you have to learn yourself. You have to discover yourself, right?
You have to define success. You have to discover yourself. You have to define success for you. Make sure that you're living the life of your choice and not the life of your parents' choice.
Yeah, it's great. I love
Or society's choice.
that. Mm.
You know, what does society say you should be in order to
In
be
Hollywood
successful?
with a big house.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Is that really, when you break it all down, really what's important to you, that you really find joy, that you really get soulful fulfillment from, or is it something else? And don't make it have to be something that you were taught or other people around you have or your peers. What is the definition of success for you? And then what's your personality type? Do you like complexity or do you like simplicity? Do you like to do things, you throw a lot of things against the wall and see what sticks, or do you like to do, you know, a few things that you drive deep and you know, make great and so forth? Yeah.
You said something very inspiring for me. You said that success for you, it's not only to focus on what you will have next, but also be happy in this moment. And I have this kind of struggle. I am very committed to improve myself, and like you did, I am persistent. But sometimes and often, I'm not so happy. I'm very good to reach my goal, but and how can the people like me, how can we learn to appreciate this moment and not only the next moment?
Yeah, it's what's called the achievement gap, and it's an insidious disease, and I suffered from it as well, and have to fight it off daily. Okay, and the achievement addiction gap is this: that I'll be happy when I accomplish that, and then when you accomplish that, you're dissatisfied again, and you say, I'll be happy when. And when you realize that when you do get there and it doesn't make you happy at all, it only perpetuates because it becomes insidious. It's like a tailspin, and nothing's ever enough. So we've seen a lot of very famous people suffer from this. I mean, Elvis Presley was one. Marilyn Monroe was one. James Dean was one. A lot of these people who had everything, continual success, but they were, each time they got to, they realized that that didn't make them happy. They thought it would make them happy. They didn't make them happy, and so they only doubled down and doubled down and doubled down until they self-destroyed. So the only way, so it's insidious, and you got to be very, very cognizant and careful about it, is to stop and try to appreciate what's great right now, what is amazing and wonderful, and just take it in and have a moment where it's like, so I'll tell you when it happened for me, okay?
Yeah.
So right here, just up the beach here, is called the La Jolla Shores. So I'm walking on the beach with my wife, and you'll notice the houses that go up on the hill here. And so we're walking on the beach, and I'm looking up at the houses going, wow, if I could have any one of those houses, which one would I want? Oh, I like that one there. But this one's got that great balcony. Oh, the view from this one's. And then I get myself mad. It's like, I need to have one of those houses. Why am I not doing something big enough? I should be doing something bigger. I need to have one of those houses. And my wife squeezes my hand and goes, hey, look, the sun's setting and look how the light just dazzles off the water. And I look at it and go, I was going to miss the whole sunset. This whole time we're walking on the beach, hand in hand with my wife. The sun is setting. This majestic view is happening over here. And I'm getting myself worked up into a tizzy looking up at these houses on the hill. And I remember walking a little bit further after a few moments of silence and said to her, I stopped her and I said, you know, sometimes I just want to not want. I just want to not want.
Wow.
And that's when I realized that I have to stop and appreciate what's happening right in front of me, where I have gotten, and what is amazing about life. Not even what I've accumulated or what successes I've accumulated, but what is just amazing about life right now. Like, what's great. So I do it every morning. I have to make it a discipline. I have to force it in, because again, I was raised by a father, single father, who the way you got love was to achieve. I've got that achievement addiction. But every morning when I first, the alarm first goes off, I set it for snooze, and it's on my iPhone, so you got 9 minutes on snooze. I don't know why 9 minutes, but that's what Steve Jobs programmed. And for 9 minutes, I just think about what's great about my life right now.
Wow.
Who do I appreciate? Who do I love? And what am I looking forward to in the day ahead? And it's just a moment to try to take it all in, to have a moment of gratitude. And it also attunes your mind's eye, your perspective, to go out in the world and look for what's positive and good rather than what's negative and scarce. So you're sort of attuning your reticular activating system to look for the things that are positive and abundant rather than scarce and missing. So that's also part of that, contemplation. And then every once in a while, you just have to, and I'm not like, look, I don't like new age airy-fairy, like, you just need to go around in happiness all the time and, but just having a sense of gratitude, just stopping and going, wow, this is, I look out the window here. I was waiting for you in the lobby, and I was looking out at the ocean, and they're starting to play the music, and it's like, just a moment, just like, wow, this is great. This is, this is something.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
You are giving me a huge gift.
Yeah.
Maybe more powerful than everything about success, because I'm sure I will succeed, but I have to learn that, and I take a commitment to you. I will try that every day for 30 days, 9 minutes, every day for 30 days. I want to learn that.
Here's the thing: it will help you be more successful. It will help you be more successful, because without getting too deep into it, when you are pursuing something to make yourself happy, you're operating in a place of lack, and it's that chasing butterflies. Whereas if you are operating from a place of abundance or gratitude, your ability to actually perpetuate that is far greater. I mean, so and then the second part of that is you're also attuning your mind to look for in the environment around you when you get up what is abundant and what is prosperous and what is good when you think about what is abundant, what is prosperous, and what is good already. Because your mind looks for to validate its own thoughts. Which is the reason why, as a man thinketh, think and grow rich, the power of positive thinking.
Yeah.
Because like thoughts attract and see in the environment other like to match it, to validate it.
Yeah.
So if you get up, thinking about what's already great, what's already amazing,
You
who's
will
already
attract
amazing,
great things.
then you start seeing it around you throughout the day. But you have to attune yourself to your mind, your unconscious mind, to look for it. So it's great, it's a gift. You will feel more gratitude, you will feel more abundance, but it will actually help you become more successful.
Do you have some life lessons you would like to share to us?
There are three major influences in your life, and they will dictate the outcomes of your whole life, these three influences. One is the input that you put in your ears and in front of your eyes. So what you expose yourself to. If you put negative, fearful, scandalous, news, sensational crap in your ears and in front of your eyes, you consume lots of news, that will influence, just as we talked about. You'll start looking around in your environment, things that match up with that negativity, with that fear, with that danger.
Yeah.
And so you will start seeing it. You will start creating it.
Yeah.
So the input that you allow and that you feed yourself is the number one great influence. Okay, so you want to feed your mind what's positive proactively. You have to go out of your way. Negativity will beat a path to your door. You don't have to go looking for it. It will come to you. It's around you all the time. But you have to go out and look for and buy and feed what's positive. So number one, you want to feed, and number two, you want to protect. You want to protect yourself from the negative input as much as you can. I don't read a newspaper. I don't listen to news radio. I don't watch news on TV, ever. I just don't, because I'll find out what I need to know about the world, and I'll find out what I need to know about my goals and my ambitions by selective channels, RSS feeds and news feeds to the things that matter to me. So the rest of it I just keep myself away from. So one is input. The second, and maybe even the more unknowing but significant influence, are your associations, the people you surround yourself by. Right? As my mentor Jim Rohn said, you will become the combined average of the 5 people you hang around the most. You'll have the combined average income, the combined average health, the combined average relationships, because you'll talk about what they talk about, you'll read what they read, you'll go to the movies they go to, you'll eat at the restaurants they eat at, you'll order what they order, you'll drink what they drink, and you'll become the combined average. So David McClelland of Harvard University said the most significant factor to determining your success and or failure in life are the reference points, the relationships that you have as your reference point. So 2 is associations, and then 3 is your environment. So do you create an environment that supports you being a high-performing achiever, or does the environment pull you down, hold you back? Does it support what's inspiring and what's uplifting, or does it detract from that? So your environment is also a very significant influence in subtle ways. It's like simple ways, like if you are trying to lose weight and you eat off of a big plate, start eating off a smaller plate.
Yeah.
You'll eat less. Just by a smaller fork. Like my sister-in-law for Christmas gave me this giant coffee mug. Giant. It was crazy. It's like you put flowers in it. It's like a vase. So I started using it, and I started drinking a lot more coffee. Why?
So now you have just...
Yeah, then I started using a smaller cup. I drink less coffee. I'm not any less happy or satisfied, but just your environment creates clues for you, and so it either supports or it detracts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So input, associations, and environment. And so if you want to change your trajectory in life, you want to change where you're going, or what's possible for you. Change what information you're subjecting yourself to. Change or improve your associations, and change or upgrade or improve your environment, and most of the rest of it will
Great.
take care of itself.
So Darren, I have a serious question for you. You know, I would like to help people to become losers, and I would like to try also what you will give me. Do you have advices to become a loser?
Yeah, sure. Just read what everybody reads, watch what everybody watches, eat what everybody else eats,
Yeah.
go to the places everybody else goes to, because the general outcome of the average is a loser outcome,
Wow.
right? So if you want to be a loser, just do what everybody else does. Just follow the herd, right? So, yeah, what's the most popular restaurant in the world? McDonald's. Eat at McDonald's if you want to be a loser, right? What do people read? You know, they read People magazine or the National Enquirer. Or if you want to be a loser, read those things. You know, what TV shows do most people watch? If you want to be a loser, watch those TV shows.
That's great. So it's easy.
I mean, I would find it very difficult to read those things and to eat those things, but for most people, I think it's the path of least resistance. Yes, you just do what everybody else does.
And I have to be consistent in doing that.
You have to be consistent. You have to stay disciplined in being lazy, and you also should blame the government.
Oh, it's important.
Yep, blame the government. And you know, if you happen to spill hot coffee on your crotch, you should sue the restaurant that sold you that coffee, because
it's not your responsibility.
It's obviously their fault. Yeah. Your parents screwed you up, so it's unfixable. And just realize that. Yeah.
I have a last idea. I would like to have your opinion. I would like to make a magazine called Failure, called Losers. What do you think about that? To become a loser, it could be.
There already is one. It's
Oh yeah.
It's called People Magazine or
yeah.
Us Weekly or. Yes. Sorry. It's a very crowded space.